Good morning, students. Hope all are safe at home. Now we are providing you with the necessary materials. Please follow all the instructions given and make use of this opportunity. Okay? So, today let's begin with the next lesson. Today's topic is from Flamingo, Prose 4, The Rattrap, written by Selma Lagerlof, Part 1. Now let's have a look at the author. Selma Lagerlof, who lived from 1858 to 1940, was a Swedish writer whose stories have been translated into many languages. In 1909, she became the first woman to ever receive the Nobel Prize in Literature, in appreciation of the lofty idealism, vivid imagination, and spiritual perception that characterize her writings. She later became the first female member of the Swedish Academy. The background of the story. This story is set in the middle of the mines of Sweden, which are rich in iron ore. It is narrated in the manner of a fairy tale. The story is about an old disheartened peddler who is taken in and shown generosity by a young woman. Her generosity and kindness change his bitter attitude towards life. Now let's have a look at the theme of the story. So we come across so many points throughout the lesson, and the most prominent one is the story conveys a universal message. It tells us that the essential goodness in a human being can be awakened through understanding and love. Miss Edla Wilmanson, the young woman whom we saw the last slide, awakens the basic goodness of the peddler. The metaphor of the rat trap serves to highlight the human predicament. So students, please note the title of the story, The Rat Trap, itself is a metaphor. The narrator or the author compares the whole world to a rat trap. Now let's continue. It warns us of the trap of material benefit that human beings are prone to fall into. The author targets the materialistic approach of the people. It also gives us the message that the emotions of love and acceptance can reform others. And the last point is this: the human tendency to redeem oneself from dishonest ways is also discussed in this chapter. Now the lesson in detail. Seller of rat traps. The peddler is the protagonist of the story. So you have to note one thing, children. We'll come across various terms to refer to the main character, that is the rat trap seller. The terms are peddler, rat trap seller, vagabond, tramp, and stranger. All these words refers to a single person. Okay? Now let's continue. He is an unnamed man who lives as a tramp, wandering the countryside and selling rat traps made of wire. He collects the material required by begging from stores or big farms. Since his business is not earning him any profit, he resorts to begging and thievery. His clothes are old and torn. His cheeks are sunken due to malnutrition, and one can easily see the hunger in his eyes. The whole world a rat trap. So here the rat trap peddler or the rat trap seller considers the whole world as a rat trap. He is very pessimistic about the world around him and sees the world as merely a rat trap. He believes that society tempts human beings with riches and fine things, and when we accept, we are caught in the trap. No one in the world had ever been kind to the rat trap seller. So he started thinking ill of others. It became a favorite pastime for him. During dull moments, these thoughts made him very happy. He would imagine those people who were already trapped in the rat trap of worldly things, and also those who were about to get trapped in it. So this was his favorite pastime. He always used to think ill of others because he never liked everyone and no one liked him at all. He was not at all accepted in the society. Now let's see what happened to the rat trap seller one day. Generous old crofter. One dark evening, As the Rattrap seller was walking, he saw a little grey cottage which stood by the road. He went up to the cottage and knocked. Generally, he was denied shelter by everyone, but this time he was welcomed by an old crofter into his cottage. Please refer to the vocabulary for the meaning of the crofter. The old man was happy to get company that night, and the man gave him some porridge to eat and then shared his tobacco. After this, both played cards till bedtime. The Rattrap seller felt that the old man was not only liberal in sharing his porridge, but also his secrets. That means he shared all his secrets with the Rattrap seller. He also confided in him about his income and showed him where he put it. The crofter told that he was a rich man when he used to work on the rented farm. As he was old and couldn't work, he had to depend upon his cow for his living and was able to earn 30 kronos. He even took a leather pouch which hung on a window and took out 3 notes of 10 krono each, which were old and crushed. So we have already seen that the crofter has mentioned about his savings and has shared all his secrets with the peddler. Okay, now let's see whether the peddler respects the confidence reposed in him by the crofter. The peddler steals 3 10 kronos. Next morning, both men left the cottage at the same time. But half an hour later, the peddler stood again at the window, smashed a pane, and got hold of the pouch. He took the money and took the back roads to keep away from people and got lost in the jungle at night. So after stealing the money, he was not confident enough to walk through the straight path as he was afraid of the police. So he took a strange path through. Now the peddler faced a problem. Let us see what the problem is. He got trapped in the forest. While he wandered in the forest, the peddler realized that he had also got caught in the rat trap and that the money was the bait. The whole forest, with its trunks and branches, its thickets and fallen logs, closed in upon him like an impenetrable prison from which he could never escape. Finally, when he saw no way out, he sank down on the ground. Soon he heard the sound of hammer strokes coming from an iron mill. He gathered all his strength and dragged himself towards it. So students, in the beginning of the lesson, we already saw that the rat trap seller has compared the whole world to a rat trap and human beings falling into that trap looking for the bait inside. Okay, so now he himself has fallen into that trap. Now let's see what happened to him later at Ramso Ironworks. The Ramso Ironworks was a big plant. The master smith and his helper sat in the dark forge near the furnace but didn't notice his presence. Usually, poor vagabonds came there to warm themselves in the winter. Many homeless people used to get attracted to the lights of the forge which peeked through the window panes. They would warm themselves with the help of the burning fire. As the blacksmiths were accustomed to visitors, they were indifferent to the man. The rat trap seller's appearance was similar to that of other wanderers. He had a long beard, was dirty, wore old worn-out clothes, and had a bunch of rat traps hanging from his chest. So in this part, we come across yet another important character of the lesson, the Ironmaster. Meeting the Ironmaster. The Ironmaster is the owner of the Ramsjo Ironworks who came into the forge on his nightly round of inspection. He saw the tall ragamuffin. Ragamuffin here refers to the rat trap peddler who had eased his way so close to the furnace that steam rose from his wet rags. When the Ironmaster took off the peddler's hat, he mistook him for an old comrade of his regiment, Nils Olof. So the Ironmaster misunderstood this rat trap seller or the peddler as his friend in the regiment, Nils Olof. The peddler did not know him, nor had he seen this man before. But he thought that if this man mistook him as his old companion and gave him some money out of pity, then it would be a good thing. Therefore, he didn't let him know that he had mistaken him as Nils Olaf. So actually, this Rattrap seller haven't seen this ironmaster before, and he was not at all working in a regiment. But he became so selfish at that time. He expected a few amount of money from this ironmaster, so he did not try to correct the ironmaster, telling that he was not Nils Olaf. Now the peddler falls into the rat trap once again due to his greediness. Let us see how it happened. The ironmaster invited the peddler to the manor house and be received by the owner like an old regimental comrade. That, however, did not please the tramp. He thought of the 30 kronos. To go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. The ironmaster was aware of his friend's miserable condition. So actually the ironmaster thought that it was due to the miserable condition of the peddler that he was not ready to go along with him to the manor house. So he tried to make him comfortable by saying that he should feel free to come to his house as his house was an ordinary one. He told him that his wife was no more, both his sons were settled abroad, and only he and his daughter were left at home. He invited him to celebrate Christmas with his family. So children, please note, all these occurrences takes place on the eve of Christmas, and actually the ironmaster wanted somebody to spend the Christmas Eve with them, since he and his daughter only were at home. Though the ironmaster made many attempts to invite him, the peddler didn't accept his invitation because he knew that it was dangerous. At last, he says to the blacksmith that it seemed Captain Wonsdale, Captain Wonsdale is again referring to the peddler, wanted to stay with him in the forge. Then he laughed and went away. But the blacksmith knew that he was hiding something, because the blacksmith was very much familiar about the character of the ironmaster, and he understood that the ironmaster has made up his mind to do something to take the peddler to his house. So students, hope this much is clear to you. Now you can go through the extra questions and the short questions given in the next slides. Okay, notes are also given. Please copy it down in your practice book and then start learning. So students, hope this much is clear to you. Now you can go through the extra questions and the short questions given in the next slides. Okay, notes are also given. Please copy it down in your practice book and then start learning.